Hey, and welcome back to a solutions episode of John's Puzzles. It's been it's been quite a week for some of us, but well done everyone for getting involved. I know that many of you have enjoyed the Stitches puzzles. I'm not really sure I knew what I was getting into when I started. I'm sure many of you didn't. I enjoyed JC's particularly poetic um, illustration of going into the woods to try and solve some of these, because it is somewhat hazardous when you start a big Stitches puzzle. I've learned and found out, and I'm sure many of you have as well. But first up, well done to Luke Nuns, who, as far as I can see, posted the quickest time on the John's Puzzle Challenge, which is the puzzle that you can see over there. There you go. Forgot about mirroring. But only narrowly beating out James Crickmore. Rebecca McDonald posted a great time out. Sam McStay and Gareth Euston from South Africa. So thanks for getting in touch, Gareth, particularly. It's great to have international watchers, listeners, both, I suppose. The big challenge. Geez, I know some of you have spent a lot of time on this, and well done to anybody who even tried. And at the end of the video, I will show my solve of it kind of slightly sped up, because it's a long one. So well done to David Milross, to Sam McStay, and to Luke Nuns for putting in the graft and getting that one done. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know a lot about these puzzles when I posted the video at the beginning of this week, and I've learned a lot more as I've gone. Um, and not least because of you guys getting in touch and being like, oh, this is how to solve it. So thanks for that. I'll do this as a live solve for the John's Puzzle Club one. So the time's just started, but we won't worry too much about the time. I found this settings thing, which is just so helpful. So you can get the blocks automatically coloured. You can get thicker borders, which I think is actually helpful. My word, show the counters is absolutely unbelievably helpful. So I'm sorry I didn't show you that at the beginning of the week, but it is very helpful to have these little counters on the right and the bottom, and you'll see when doing the big one, um, that can be very helpful. So let's have a look at this one. So the first thing to note is obviously this 0 at the bottom, which means that you can't have any stitches there. Okay, now we've got 2 there. That doesn't really give us anything. So maybe we'll just look to see if there's any that only connect in one place. So that red connects to blue there, and that's the only place that this red connects to this blue. This is the only place that the yellow connects to the blue. This is the only place that the green connects to the blue. So that's a very helpful start. Yellow and green can be here or here, so that doesn't necessarily help us out. Red and green can be there or there, that's fine. Blue connects to yellow and green. Alright, great, okay. So some things that I've been thinking about when I've been solving some of these kind of puzzles is to look for small shapes. So this small red shape here, you know that it can only have 3 holes in it, and it's got 1 in it already. And it's actually connected to only 2 shapes in this case, so that's fine. But sometimes you can just fill them all in if they're connected to the same number of shapes as they are, as the amount of cells that they contain. So let's have a look then. Okay, so we know that this can't work because it puts this 3 goes red and it puts a -1 at the bottom. So we know that that's never going to be 1. So we know it's going to be horizontal. That's helpful to know. Does that tell us something about 2s and 3s? I'm not sure it does just yet. We know that has to be fulfilled by one of these 4 squares here. So, because that's the only way red can connect to green. So we know that this isn't 1, and these 2 therefore can't be, and therefore this can't be. This can't be a stitch because there's only space for 1 in that column, so we can get rid of that. Oh, that can be. You can't play odd numbers with it just yet. Oh, this must be a stitch here. Great, that's helpful. Okay, what else can we see here? So we've got 1 left in this column, and we know it's going to be fulfilled by one of these 2. If it's this, that gives. So one thing that I found helpful is, let's just say that I put a stitch in here. If you look to the left of that stitch, you only got 2 columns left. And now, if that was an odd number, we'd have problems because we know that these would all be not stitches. And then what I found is that odd numbers mean that a stitch has to kind of jut out into either the left or the right of those columns, and you can't do that if this is completely filled like it was before. But because it's not odd, we don't need to worry about that. But anyway, just a little tip for you, for the people who like those kind of tips. Okay, so it's not going to be a particularly quick solve for me, this, but we'll kind of plow on. Okay, so we know that one of these two on the side is going to be brought about by either here or here, which means that that's actually a 1, which is going to have to go upwards, connecting this blue and this green, which makes this, the two above that, a 1, which is also going to have to go upwards. Yeah, and that's going to connect either the green to the yellow or the blue to the yellow. Okay, does that help us out very much? Not an extreme amount, so maybe I'll just kind of fill in some other ones. Now what can we do next? Okay, so that's connected to that, that's connected to that. Just gonna have a little think about this, and carry on in a moment. Is there a way to pause the recording? Guess we'll find out. Okay, so I don't know, it's probably been 30 seconds or something like that. You can probably tell from the timer. So this can't be a stitch because of this 1 in the bottom left hand corner, which means that this can't be a stitch, which means that the yellow is going to connect to the blue. The yellow must connect to the blue using one of these 2 holes, which means that none of these can be used because we know that it's going to be connected there, and it can't be connected more than once. So that's quite helpful because that forces this to be a stitch, which kind of gets us going really. We now have 4 left. Red's got to connect to green. Looks likely that it's there, but I can't prove that right now. Yellow's already been connected to blue, so that can't be one. Blue still does need to connect to green. Green needs to connect to yellow, so that must be one. Oh, that's good. We've got a 1 here now. One's always good because they've got to go upwards, and that can't be done by this place or this place. It can be done by one of these 2, which I think we already knew, and it can't be done by that. But that can't go across now, so that's got to go there, which means this must be a stitch. That can't be a stitch. One of these 2 is going to be a stitch, but that one's already fulfilled, so that can't be a stitch there. Neither of these ones can be stitches. We've got a 4 and a 2 left, which should be, I mean, at this point you could just see, oh, I guess they've got to be spaced out, haven't they? So that would make sense. Oh good, we've got all zeros around the side. 7 minutes, which is quite, well, I mean, it's not a bad time. I wouldn't have won. In fact, I would have come last. But there we are. There's a solve to that. So I hope you enjoyed that. And what's going to follow is a probably slightly darker video, darker in the sense that there's less lighting, and probably darker in the sense that it was late at night and I was working hard on it of how to solve the bigger one. And I think I'll put a poll up on what puzzle I'll do to finish the puzzles for July. So if great to hear what kind of puzzle that you'd like to see next. So yeah, here's the next bit of the video. Hello, I imagine that there has been a change of lighting because I'm recording this late at night, or relatively late at night, because I've come up with a way of solving this big one. It's been fun. I'm basically not going to talk you through every single step. I'm not going to talk you through many of the steps, but I thought you might be interested in following some of the logic through. So um, here we go. So I'm just going to kind of click through some of my methods. So there's a 0 at the bottom, so you can cross those out. And then I connected all of the places that had only one connection point, and then I added some holes to any of the shapes where there had to be holes. So that shape in the middle has got 3 shapes next to it, and so therefore it has to have 3 holes in it, but we don't know which way they go. And then I found a few more connection points and did a bit of speculating, and some holes where you know that they're going to have to be a hole there, but you don't know which one they connect to. And fairly early on, I deduced that you could kind of roll, we could wipe out that whole row because because of something. There you go. Did it? Oh yeah, because you know that there's 0 in that row. Using the kind of the numbering on the right and the bottom, which is actually really helpful because it tells you how many you've got left to get, which is super helpful. It means you'd have to keep doing the maths, which frankly is painful. So anyone who solved this without figuring out that you can get those numbers up, my word, good effort, because it is hard otherwise. I mean, it's hard anyway. Anyway, I clicked through. I kind of filled in some gaps where I knew there couldn't be crosses. I put crosses where I knew there couldn't be any holes, and then I filled in some lines where there was only one left in a row, or there's only one in the row to start with. I'm gonna try and click through this a bit quicker. Filled in some crosses where there couldn't be holes. Did quite a lot of that. Um, do do do. Filled in a few more potential holes, more crosses, places where there must be holes. Had to do some kind of like deduction stuff in the middle here, which I imagine I did by a little bit of trial and error. Yeah, you can see that, and then just kind of playing around with it, realizing that this blue shape was surrounded by so many shapes that it had to have. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got 7. It's a shape of size 7. It's surrounded by 7 shapes. So all of the spaces have to be used by holes, which was a very helpful thing to realize. So that was quite a neat little thing. Clearly, I'm not solving this in real time. I couldn't even tell you how long it took me to figure some of these things out. Let's just say it took me a long time. Right. Okay, where are we at? Throwing some things in. Yeah, okay, so what have I done there? Have I done something with odd and even yet? I might have done that just then. So one of the things I realized is that if you can count the numbers, odd and even is really important. I actually got this from somebody who got in touch with the John's Puzzle Club thing and said, "Hey, this is a helpful thing." So thanks to Ben Bevan and Sam McStay for helping me out on this. So if you kind of count these numbers at the bottom, you get 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 5 is 8, plus 2 is 10. But we've already put a hole in here that's not connected to anything else. And so that means that if you took that hole away, you would have 11. And so that's an odd number. And if you just think about the way that stitches can lie, in that group of 4 columns, you can't have an odd number unless one of the stitches is coming out to the right. Like it has to be even to be contained within those 4 columns. And because you know that one of them is sticking out to the right and it's a 2 that's to the right of an odd number of columns that is next to the side, which can't go anywhere else. I hope that makes some sense to you. But basically, in these first 4 columns, there's an odd number of holes, which means you've got to have one. Sorry, first 5 columns, there's an odd number of holes, which means you've got to have one to the right of it. Because of that deduction, you can know that actually with this 2, it's actually going to be a 1 when the thing goes over, which means that you can put these red lines in because you know that you're not going to be able to make vertical stitches. And there's quite a few deductions like that you have to make on this. And see, I'm not going through every logic path, but that's kind of one very helpful thing as you go through. And as you fill in more rows and columns, you can make a few more deductions like that using odds and evens.
And you kind of realise that actually a lot of the Stitches stuff is about odds and evens, which is quite fun actually. I didn't realise that when I started it. It's good to learn stuff. Um, so yeah, you've got situations like this where you can kind of work out where the stitches have got to be. You know that there's going to be one stitch going connecting this big like this red shape here where my cursor is to this yellow shape here. The only place it can be is in one of these two cells, which means that you can fill in the rest with crosses, which is what I've done there. So there's some of the kind of little deduction things that are going on. Hopefully you're just enjoying seeing it going in, and occasionally me making mistakes and then having to correct for those mistakes. I did make a bit of a gaff at it at some point, but I did manage to correct for it. So some of the ones that are going in might not even be logically coherent, but hopefully most of them are. So yeah, as you can see above the ticks here, you know that it's got to be even as well, because between like a completed row or column and and like the end, you know that there's got to be an even number of holes because there's got to be exact stitches because you've finished the stitches on either side, because there's not any one above it because there's nothing above it, and there's not any below because it's already finished. So yeah, that's how we made some of those, and maybe you could just enjoy watching them go in. Or just seeing some of my kind of methodology, which as you can see is slightly haphazard at times, trying to work out where things are and how they go in and what happens. Near the end, it becomes a lot easier to place them because there's just fewer and fewer spaces that could connect the two shapes. So I found that my kind of ability to place stitches just increased near the end. Now this is a little methodology I called I'm tired, whereby I just throw random ones in. Oh, it's red. Okay, it's not there. Oh, so I'm just like, could there be a stitch here? No, great. Could there be a stitch here? No, great. Could there be a stitch here? No, great. Um, oh, there could be a stitch there. Oh no, wait. Oh, okay, that works. And then you go back and check it again and move them and realize you made a mistake and solve that problem. So there we go, and we're coming near to an end. And well done for anyone who even attempted this. But just to show that I try not to set problems that I won't have a go at myself, we are almost done. I'm clicking, but there's no more. Okay, that's because I haven't filled in this square and this square, but hopefully I can click done, and great. I solved the puzzle in 177 hours. So well done to anyone who solved it in less time than that. That's not the actual time I spent on the puzzle, but that is the time between I first found it for the puzzle hunt and me filming this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know how enjoyable it was to watch, but at least you can see it. And yeah, look out for the next video, which will be on a completely different type of puzzle. It will probably be another logic puzzle because it feels sensible to kind of finish July off with logic puzzles. I might do a different type of puzzles next month. I might stop, so let me know if there's any kind of puzzles that you'd be interested in or things that you'd like to see. I'd be interested in trying out new things if there's stuff that you would like me to cover. But yeah, be in touch, and thanks for watching. Bye.